Thanks for that, Christy. AC units in many places across Louisiana will stay on, whether Entergy customers, at the moment anyway, can afford their bills or not.
Andres Fuentes is live with more on shutoff suspensions and other ways state agencies are hoping to keep people safe in this heat.
Right. This is a move by Entergy to make sure that homes are cool, that families are cool and comfortable as we are preparing for another period of triple-digit heat. Now, this shutoff suspension will be lasting for as long as Governor John Bel Edwards has a heat emergency in effect. For right now, that's expected to last until September 9th, but it could get extended if we still see this oppressive heat here in Louisiana. But until then, no Entergy customer in the state will have their power shut off due to non-payment. Originally, Entergy said that this summer's bills would be significantly less than last year due to lower fuel costs, but Public Service Commissioner Devontae Lewis pushes the utility company to do more with renewable energy in order to see an even bigger decrease in utility bills.
If we really want to talk about lowering people's bills, there are multiple options that the utility company should put on the table. So while we can be pleased to see that they won't rise as high, that does not negate the work that needs to be done and the investments that they should make to ensure our bills stay affordable and low, as we're seeing neighbors across the country have.
And with the dangerous heat, the state fire marshal has a burn ban in place for all of Louisiana. That's going to be restricting all debris and trash burns until it's safe to do so. Officials also want people to be mindful of how they extinguish their cigarettes, how they grill outdoors, and how they manage their campfires, because again, it is just hot and it's also very dry. Now, the burn ban is also going to be extended to 40 counties over in Mississippi. That includes the entire Gulf Coast, and a number of police departments and municipalities have been issuing citations, some even saying that they will make arrests for those who do not obey the burn ban. But for now, reporting here in New Orleans, Andres Fuentes, Fox 8, Local First.